Do you mind signing?
Excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone.
Wait for Warren or?
Start with that. Cyrus here?
Oh, wait, yeah.
We should probably have looking for a place to park,
My
because our parking lot is full.
husband, when he went out to Colorado for the brothers,
Actually, we can take them.
they rented evenings.
Do you like that?
Oh, he had a good time, but he was actually.
He's not gonna have a place to park.
Yeah,
What?
but his
Warren
brothers
is
were
gonna
much
have a
younger.
place to
Well,
park.
Right, exactly.
See, mine doesn't have a throttle.
Oh, it doesn't?
Where's-
Because I think it comes on when you move the pedal a certain way or something.
There's all different kinds. I didn't want that throttle, but I think I got hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
No, maybe not. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the monthly town board meeting of the town of Northeast. It is September 12th, 2024 at 7 o'clock. And I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tilly, could you conduct a roll call, please?
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
Here.
Councilwoman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fidele,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Here,
Councilman Mayville.
Here. Thank you. The agenda of today's meeting has been posted. We have two amendments to the agenda. Or actually three. First of all, the contract with Dutchess County for removal of snow and ice we're taking that off the agenda. And because we haven't received the contract from the county yet. And we are adding two items. The first is a request for a hookup to the water district that we received from Habitat for Humanity. And the second is a mortgage satisfaction resolution, which our attorney Warren Raplansky will explain to us when he gets here. With that amendment, I'd like to ask for a resolution to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You wanted that to make that session.
Yeah, and we will be asking for an executive session with our attorney at the end of the meeting to discuss pending litigation. Couple of comments. Number one, we are in budget season at the moment. And the budget committee of the board is composed of Deputy Supervisor Lana Morrison and myself. We've had two meetings so far and are scheduled to have more meetings next week. My hope is to have a chance to talk with each of the members of the board about the budget for next year. The big outstanding item on the budget is where we end up with EMS services. As you know, we have a contract with the towns of Amenia and Dover for EMS services with Northern Dutchess Paramedics. That contract expires at the end of this year, and we are working to get an extension of that contract. I have meetings scheduled with the other towns and with their attorneys next week. So it's our hope to bring in something that we can live with. On Saturday, yep, there's Warren. Hi, Warren.
the grasshopper.
We have rules about grasshoppers coming to the meeting.
Okay.
I guess we know what's gonna be going on tomorrow here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, we are, I'm just giving some initial comments. On Saturday morning, the town's new highway garage up on Route 22, we will be having an open house for members of the public who would like to come and see it. It's not the groundbreaking or the opening of it. It has been in use now for several months. But we've had a lot of requests from members of the public who would like to come up and see it. So we are from 10 to 12 on Saturday. The building will be open and the trucks will all be there and it will be. I think everything's gonna be looking very good and I hope that people will come up and join us. We just got an announcement today that the Millerton News is having an ice cream social, which is an opportunity for residents of the community to meet the editors and reporters who cover Millerton Northeast for the paper. That is going to be on, I think it's is that a Saturday or Friday? Anyway, it's on the 27th. Which is, I think, what?
A Friday.
I think it's Friday. Yeah.
5:30.
At 5:30 at the library annex. We had a groundbreaking, or I should say Habitat for Humanity had a groundbreaking for their new project up on Red Pond Road. And we were honored by having the county executive came out for that. The county comptroller, Greg Pulver, came for that. Assemblyperson Dean Barrett was here for that. I think most of the board was there for that. And it was a sort of a symbolic groundbreaking. There's still a lot of steps that have to take place before you're going to see anything going up in the way of a structure. But it was we had a very good crowd for that, and it was exciting to see this project actually move forward. There've been a lot of announcements about grants that the town and the village have been lucky enough to receive, and there are two that I want to mention. One is not a final grant yet, but the US Senate has voted to approve $3.2 million for wastewater project in the town. And that still has to be negotiated with the House of Representatives, so that is not a final number. And for any of you who've been watching politics, you can imagine that there's a long way to go before that agreement between those two houses is final. But it is very encouraging that it's in the Senate's budget. And I think it is likely that, fingers crossed, likely that we will be getting that. That will be added to the about 900,000 that we got courtesy of Congressman Pat Ryan's recommendation. Slowly, bit by bit, we're starting to put the pieces together. The funding of the wastewater system is, of course, the elephant in the room. It's the biggest hurdle, but this is really important progress. I think we all know about the pool at Eddie Collins Field, for which a lot of credit goes to the mayor, and thank you for dropping in tonight. I know people have been asking me, when will the pool be open? And we're gonna have to wait a little bit. And tomorrow, the US EPA is making an announcement of $3 million, which is being given via the Hudson Valley Regional Council for greenhouse gas reduction from landfills. And it was really our initiative that led to this thing being put together. We are one of, I think, 14 different towns that have closed landfills that are seeping out methane. And the way that bigger landfills used to do it is by flaring it off. A lot of the landfills like ours, which have been closed for quite a while, don't produce enough to flare off. But there is still a very significant amount of methane that is being emitted from the landfill. When you look at the municipal sources of greenhouse gas emissions from the town, the landfill just dwarfs everything else. The highway trucks and the electricity from the buildings and so on is just like a rounding error compared with methane from that. So they're going to be developing a way of technology of biofiltration, which is literally what it sounds like, which is essentially putting biofilters, which is often wood chips, things like that, on top of those candy canes. And it is amazing what that does in terms of mitigating that. It's very low cost, very low tech. And I like both of those aspects of that. Anyway, that's something that is still way down the road, but that's a big announcement. And the town of Northeast has been central in that. And I've been asked to go over and speak there tomorrow in Poughkeepsie at this announcement. Okay, with that, I would like to move along to department and committee reports. And first up is Bob Stevens, our highway superintendent. And Bob, I know you've got a lot of stuff for us tonight.
I do. So we have the 2025 bid results. My recommendations are in bold print.
Can you just remind us, and for the benefit of those who are here attending, what the different materials are that we get, so we go out to bid on?
Sand, gravel, blacktop, different fuels, propane, gas, diesel. Oil for oil and stone for chip sealing roads.
Right. And this was, when we put these items out to bid, and I believe I recall, because this was a couple of weeks ago, that we received the bids, that you got multiple bids on these,
Yes, we did.
and you were happy with the number of bids that you got?
Yes.
And how did you feel? How do you feel about the bids that
The
we
bids
got?
are actually a very good, the stone products went up about most of them went up about $1 a ton. But everything else stayed about the same.
Mhm. Well, that's very encouraging.
Yes, happy to see that.
And you've made recommendations to the board, to us, as to which of the bids that you would recommend that we would accept.
Yes, my recommendations are in bold on this page.
Okay, and those have been sent to the board, and with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the bids that Bob has recommended we accept for materials for the town.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions for Bob on those? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, we'll do a roll call on these.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, Supervisor Cannon,
aye.
Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Okay, you're good with the bids.
Okay, so the next item is a revised agreement for the expenditure of highway monies. The town board previously approved section 1. I'm looking to have section 2A approved tonight. Will be for Culver Road, which is 7/10 mile long. And looking to improve the drainage, mill and fill, floor level, pave, install new gravel shoulders and install pavement markings. For a sum not to exceed $265,000.
Right, this is an amendment or an addition to the 284 agreement. And, you know, the board has been familiar with this 284 agreement, this is a requirement from New York State that the highway superintendent present to the board a list of what he is planning to do in terms of projects that he is planning to undertake. And I had the opportunity to go up to Pulver Road with Bob a few days ago and look at this. It is really the pretty thorough repaving of Pulver Road from Winchell Mountain all the way up to the Columbia County line. And we have, a lot of this is being paid for through CHIPS money from New York State, most of it,
Majority of it is.
yeah. And I believe that could actually start next week,
Yes, the prep work can start next week.
okay? So I think this is great, this is, the road is deteriorating, the edges are crumbling. And there are a lot of cracks in the asphalt, and I had a chance to go look at it. I think this is it's an important road. It gets quite a bit of use. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the revised 284 agreement.
So moved.
Second,
And you want to do a roll call on this?
Yes, please. Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler, Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Then there's this 2 sheets. They'll pass around. You have to sign, please. And I'll file a copy with the county superintendent.
Thank
Mhm.
I don't think there's a place for a date on it. It's just.
It's already dated.
It's got dates. All right, I'm gonna pass that around to the board. And other than that, Bob,
But we chip sealed 4.25 miles of road this week, very nice.
okay, where was that?
That was the north end of town with the White House Crossing, Deer Run Road, Quarry Hill Road, Old Post 2, 3, and 4, and Sawtruck Road.
Good. And that's all done?
All done. Fremont Road.
And this was,
Second page.
one of those projects where we collaborate with other towns and work together on this, right?
Yes.
So can you just remind us of what other towns actually came in, their highway departments came in and helped on this?
Sure, town of Armenia, town of Milan, and town of Baker.
No, this is, I think it's a great thing to be aware of. We have projects that our highway department can't undertake by themselves. They're just bigger. And so do other towns. So we help other towns out. They help us out. It's a relatively informal and non-bureaucratic arrangement that works for the benefit of all of the towns. And I think that probably is that. Everything else is working well.
Everything else working well.
All right. The assessor is not here. We don't have an assessor report. Tilly has provided reports for planning, zoning, building and dog control, and I think you had
Yes,
something you wanted to
one thing
mention.
about records is that there's NBT is hosting Shred Day on the 28th, Saturday from 9 AM to noon. We have about 19 boxes ready to be disposed of. I need 3 drivers. Because Lauren has agreed to take a couple and I'm gonna take some. So if you're available on those days, please let me know.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm signing up.
Okay.
So that's our NBT in Millerton.
Yes, right here.
Yes, right here.
Mhm.
This is one of the commitments they made to the town when they took over from Salisbury Bank, was that they would continue to do the shredding. So this is the second year they will have done it. So,
Yeah, I use the one in Lakeville a lot.
okay. Town Board Committee, I don't know if we have any, you have something about.
Cemetery.
Okay,
Claire Goodman has sent out an appeal letter for Spencer's Corners. And we have received so far about $5,000 in donations to remediate what's happening. It's still below the amount that we need to have MCC, the Monument Conservation Collaborative, to work on the event. But David Shapiro is working with George Beneke to see if we can possibly get some volunteer work up at the Spencer's Corners Cemetery to just remediate and raise a few of the smaller monuments, not big. That would be left for MCC to do. So we feel that possibly we can get some action by October. That's our goal. We're also working on the gate to straighten that out, the front gate of the cemetery, the burying grounds is in bad shape. So we're gonna try and raise the two poles that are there, and hopefully we'll get something done in October. That's our goal.
And is there a role for the town at all? I know we've talked about liability.
Yeah, there's a concern about insurance liability, and we have to try and find out how we can do that.
We'll look into that and see if it can be covered under our liability insurance, because
That
as
would
you know,
be-
that the town is legally the owner of the
Yes,
cemetery.
absolutely.
So,
So that's maybe something that Warren can
Yeah.
work on for us.
that I think should be relatively easy. But we'll get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Anything on communications? Anything new on that?
The housing I can just add to the Habitat,
Okay,
which is, it's been, the start of it's been pushed out a tad. Their website for volunteer sign up is great. Actually, the first day will be September 25th. They'll be putting the sill plates out, and they actually have enough volunteers for that. So the next date that's available is October 3rd for the inventory of all the modular boxes, which are actually the home in different parts. So I put the sign up on Nextdoor, and then we'll have it on the town website too. But most of the work will be done through the month of October. I think they're trying to speed things up. And then it looks like into October, like early November, hopefully they might finish, because I know their goal is to get the homeowners in by
Right.
the, holidays. So that's exciting. So
mhm.
please sign up if you
So
can.
we have something on our agenda tonight, which relates to that, which
Yeah.
we'll come to
Yeah.
in a minute. And we're gonna talk about recreation in a few minutes, so we need that. I think that, anything else? Okay, next item is comment on agenda items only. If there's any public comment on agenda items only, we come back to public comment at the end of the meeting. All right. We are scheduled to have a public hearing on local law number 1 of 2024, permitting the town to exceed the New York State tax cap. It is not quite 7:30, so I'm going to move things around on the agenda a little bit. And number 11 is a resolution to accept the Water District Benefit Assessment Goal and set a date for a public hearing. The Water District Benefit Assessment Goal, we approve this every year. We receive it and approve it, and then we set the date for the public hearing. This is one of the less exciting items that we get on our agenda. Anyway, with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution to accept the Water District Benefit Assessment Role
And set a date.
and to set a date for the public hearing. The date of the public hearing would be at our next board meeting.
The 10th.
That will be on October 10th. And why don't we set that for 7:20? PM. So with that, could I ask for a motion to accept the resolution to accept the Water District Benefit Assessment Roll and to set a date of Thursday, October 10th at 7:20 PM for a public hearing?
So,
Second,
All in favor? Do we need a roll call on this? No. All in favor?
aye.
All right. Thank you. So we've taken care of that one. Since we just talked about Habitat for Humanity, let's do number 12. Find it here. This is a resolution to authorize connection to the water district for 140 Red Pond Road. This is for the Habitat for Humanity project. And the resolution is resolved to authorize the connection for the property 140 Red Pond Road to connect to Water District number 1. So could I have a motion to accept for that resolution?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, Bill, you got that one?
Yep.
Okay. We're getting close. We have one other item. Warren, can you explain very briefly the resolution which you brought to the board tonight? This is an old item which we're sort of closing the door on as far as I can see. And tidying up old legal matters. Has to do with a very complicated arrangement that was made for housing many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this was part of a community development block grant going back to 2004, I believe. It was, the town received as part of that grant, $108,000 in 2 installments, which was supposed to be, which was provided to Housing Resources Real Estate Holding Corp, who is to develop a affordable housing project on the North Elm Street Avenue located. I have a tax grid number. And it never happened. It was located in the village. And the village planning board turned down the project. They never got approval for the project. And as part of the agreement in the block grant, we secured the $108,000 by a mortgage, actually 2 mortgages, which were then consolidated into one, to provide that we have a lien on the property. So if the project didn't go through, they would have to pay back the $108,000, which they never did. The county wanted to be repaid for that amount. The only way we could collect that would be to foreclose on the mortgage, but the mortgage, as part of the complicated deal, was subordinated to a much larger mortgage, which meant that for us to foreclose on that mortgage, we would have to pay off almost $500,000, and the board at that time decided it was not cost effective for the town to do that, so we never did that. The lien still is on the property, and the property now is going to be sold to the what is it?
Northeast Community Center.
Northeast Community Center. They have a closing next week. And we will be paid off, the mortgage will be satisfied in the amount of $108,000. Unfortunately, it's not our money. It's has to be turned over to the county is expecting that money will go to them, so. I prepare a satisfaction of mortgage, which will be sent to the title company to hold an escrow. Pending the closing and the receipt of a check, which will go directly to the county for the $108,000. This has been, a disturbing problem for many years. It will take the town off the hook. We'll have no responsibility.
Takes the town off the hook for $500,000.
Yeah.
So,
We'll be all square with the county on this issue, so, they're happy, I'm very happy, and the town should be very happy, so. I don't need to go over the resolution,
Right.
basically this, recites, all of, the history in a summary form, and just authorizes the supervisor to sign, the satisfaction of mortgage, which I now have in my hand, and will send to the title company tomorrow for them to hold until county gets the check, and we'll be finished with that.
that's great. Well, Warren has presented us with a resolution doing exactly what he just described.
Yes,
And,
it's all marked up. I'll give you a clean copy.
We'll get a
tomorrow.
clean copy of that, but this is cleaning up an old item and keeping us harmless from any further action. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute a satisfaction of mortgage encumbering the property located on North Elm Avenue, Millerton, New York. You want me to read the tax number?
Yeah.
So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second,
Do you think it will?
Roll call would be useful for this.
A roll call. Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Fidele,
aye,
Councilman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville.
aye,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's close.
Now we are going to, we will open the public hearing on local law number 1. 2024, permitting the town to exceed the New York State tax cap. As we went through at the last month's meeting, this is something that we have done to give us the flexibility to be above the tax cap if we have to be. It is our effort to try to come in underneath that. But it is important to have that, and we have passed this resolution every year since I've been on the board, and I think it is useful to do that. With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
some,
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is open, and would anybody like to speak to this proposed local law? Not hearing any response. I would ask for a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay. And with that, I would now like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution to approve local law number 1, permitting the town to exceed the New York State tax cap.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fidele,
aye,
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler.
Okay. The next item concerns, speed reduction on Bilkie and State Line roads. And there are a couple of things which I wanted to mention, in connection with this. First of all, we talked at our last meeting about the potential for, stenciling stop and stop ahead before the intersection with Red Pond Road on both Bilkie and State Line roads. I've asked Bob to move ahead with that. And he has contracted with a company to do that stenciling. And that stenciling is scheduled to take place probably next week. So that is something that
Terrific.
we've talked about, and it is moving right ahead with that. The second is we have looked at different possibilities for signing speed reduction and notifying people of the presence of pedestrians on State Line Road and on Bilkie. And we have been given a proposed sign which will not require state approval. And it shows both I've put copies of it around, but Bob has looked at it. It is something that we can do. And it is both cautionary in terms of speed and in terms of the presence of pedestrians on the road, and it could be done quite quickly. So that is something that I would like I'd like us to move forward with doing. Ask Bob to look into whether it's this particular sign or something essentially very much like it. And to come back to the board with what he can find in the way of price and availability of that. All of that is by way of saying that we have agreed that we will seek a speed reduction on State Line Road and on Bilkie Road from 40 down to 30. And we have a resolution which is required to go to the state for that. And with that, we will send that off to the county. The county then looks at it and they send it to the state. So it's a process, but it's the beginning of the process. And I think this would be an important step towards further trying to protect people walking on State Line Road and on Bilkie Road. So any thoughts from the board on any of those three?
So these signs would then just, if we were to get something like this, it would just be deemed by by Bob and yourself where we would place them?
Yeah, I think we work with the neighborhood, I think,
Yeah.
probably try and
Yeah.
put them at each end as people are beginning,
Picking
not
speed?
put them right at the end, just before you come to the stop sign.
Right.
The idea would be to put them in a place where people see them.
Mhm.
And so I think that this is a good step forward.
You had also talked about possibly striping this.
We've talked about that. We've gotten a lot of feedback on that. We've talked about it amongst ourselves. And the more that I've looked into it, the more I think that these other steps are useful steps, which will, achieve the result. If we feel that we need to come back and look at striping the road, we can, but I don't propose to do that tonight. One of the arguments that was made that I've heard since our last meeting actually was that when you stripe the road, there are some drivers are very careful and want to stay exactly in the lane. And if you have somebody walking on the road, that actually can put the car in closer proximity to a pedestrian than if they feel more free to move around. And I thought that was a Yeah, a point well taken on that. So, yes, Ralph.
This, remediating the problem that we've had with the intersection. We've had about 11 different accidents there. And I think the stenciling of the road is a really good move. That's gonna help reduce accidents. But as far as center striping is concerned, I know we discussed it and it came up at last month's meeting. I personally feel, this is my own feeling, is that this is a rural road. And striping to me is not appropriate for that road, but that's just the way I feel about it. I think we've taken some good steps by signage and stenciling. So that's my feeling.
That intersection is
A real problem.
the most difficult intersection in the town. We've had the most accidents at that intersection. We've been after the county for literally years to upgrade the warnings and the stop signs. I asked the county for a flashing stop sign there, which solar powered flashing stop sign, they exist. There are ones in other parts of the county. And their response was simply to put up a second stop sign. So I think that this step is something we can do. We don't have to ask the county for it, and I think it will help. They will also, the stop line will also be repainted and very vibrant.
And we'll be able to see if it does help.
We
You
will.
know, and I think it will.
I hope so.
really do.
I really hope so.
Well, the sight lines are fine, like you mentioned, Bob had already taken back vegetation.
We've done
It's
that,
very
we've
clear
done
if
that
you're
in
a
other
careful driver.
intersections
Yeah.
around the town.
Yeah.
For instance, at the corner of Bilkey and 22.
Mhm.
That was if you were going to turn onto 22 from Bilkey and looked south. You really couldn't see very far, and the cars would come whipping around that corner and they couldn't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that has been much improved,
Mhm.
which I
thank you,
appreciate.
Bob.
You're welcome.
Uh, Yes, could you read the resolution?
Okay, so resolution requesting the New York State Department of Transportation and Dutchess County Department of Public Works to lower the speed limit on Belkey Road and State Line Road. Whereas Belkey Road is a town road running from New York State Route 22 to Red Pond County Route 62. And whereas State Line Road is a town road running from Red Pond Road, CR 62, to New York, Connecticut border. And whereas the highway superintendent and the town board have determined that the current speed limits on these roads, 40 miles per hour, are too high, resulting in hazardous and dangerous conditions. Now therefore it be it resolved that the town board hereby requests that the New York State Department of Transportation lower the speed limit on Belkey Road and State Line Road from 40 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to send a copy of this resolution together with a TE-9A form to the Dutchess County Department of Public Works to initiate the process.
Okay. With that, unless there's any other comment from the board, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, could you take a roll call on that one?
Yes, Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler.
Okay, resolution is passed. Next item on the agenda is, we are turning to the village recreation program, in which the town participates. And, I'm very happy that Crystal McCarthy is here to tell us a little bit about the program as
Thank
you did it, and congratulations on having had a recreation program.
Year, yeah. It's been, so we've successfully completed summer camp 2024, which is the first time in several years. So I have to acknowledge and thank Ken Jack, Lisa Cope, and I'm gonna go through the names just because I have to put it on record here. Emerald, Karen Grunwald, Peter, Jimmy Milton, Billy Clark, Jose, Joe Olenek and his staff at the police department, Gail and Emma, who take care of our bathrooms, and the pavilion, Sebastian Bauer, who's the camp director, and the staff of the NACC. So just want to put that out there. So for the challenges for summer camp, we're really prepping the pavilion because it hasn't been used in many years to the capacity that we were bringing in 48 campers. So there was a lot of work involved with that, by everyone that I just listed, I just named. Payment for camp is currently cash and, check only. So that was a little challenging as well. So I will suggest in our next village meeting to maybe implement some type of, card reader, as well as cash and check. I think that would help with getting funds directly into the village bank account and for documentation.
What is the cost to a family to have a child in the?
It depends on if you're a resident or non-resident.
If you're a
So-
resident.
If you're a resident, it's $100 per week per child.
Mhm.
And then that doesn't include the trips that we take.
Right.
Which this year, the NECC, provided lunches for all the kids, which was fantastic, except for on days of trips. And then through the, adoptive family program, they provided us a $10,000 grant, or donation. And we used $5,000 of that to help with the cost of the trips. Which we had some money left over, so we will implement that into our next camp session, which is good. It's fantastic. We had a huge amount of support, mainly due to Jen Ijack and her work through this, so. We had a total of 48 campers, 34 were full-time, 14 were part-time, 36 were residents, 12 were non-residents, and we had Amenia, Lakeville, Sharon, and Millbrook kids coming in. I think the Amenia kids came in because their program shut down and closed. So we had some kind of last minute campers come in. We took a total of 12 field trips. Only 2 cost $10 per child. Per trip. The rest were either free or taken on by the money that we received, which is great. Great for kids. We went to Lake Taconic 5 times, the Millerton Library, which we used, the movie house, Causey amusement park, that was one of the costs. Zoom Flume was another, the $10 cost. We did bike rentals and spin bowls. The revenue for camp this year was $14,662, $673.62. We budgeted for $12,500. 6 families currently have outstanding balances totaling an $815 balance. However, one family owes $370, so that takes up quite a bit of that money. The rest are pretty much the $10 fees for families that have multiple kids for the trips. I did send out requests for payment, and I have received some responses. So we should be getting some of that money in soon. The trip revenue was $1,375. We budgeted for $5,080. However, again, the money that we received from the adoptive family program offset that cost. Again, the NECC provided lunches, but they also provided 8 scholarships, which meant that kids that could not afford to come to camp, go to camp, were able to. And there was only one child that didn't take on that scholarship, the rest did, and they were full-time. So they were able to enjoy camp this summer, which is.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really good. As far as the park itself, resident and non-resident. I go up there all the time. I introduce myself, I talk to people, see what they're doing while while they're there. What they enjoy, what they have any suggestions for improving. But this year we've had 2 private parties with $50 each, for a rental. We've had community functions, which fees are waived with community functions. The fire department, the senior center, we had an ice cream social for the committee leaders. And the ice cream was donated by Stewart's and beverages by Harney Tea. And then we also had, concert in the park, which we had 2 vendors there, and the Northeast Passage Band, which I think some of you attended. I go up there almost every day, and the park is routinely used 7 days a week. The soccer field, the basketball courts, there's 2 families that come in and play, and whoever loses buys something from a local restaurant, and then they eat dinner afterwards. There's several people that actually walk the grounds in the morning. Just as exercise around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a group of about 8 or 9 people that come from Pine Plains that do yoga twice a week under the pavilion. Because if it's rain or shine, they can use that, which is good. There's picnics there. I've gone up and introduced myself to people just having lunch. I've met 2 couples that were on their first date. I was like, oh, sorry, don't interrupt you on that one. And then I've also met just people, truckers that come through, or people who are passing through that stop and get something at one of the food trucks, or have their lunch in their vehicle, and they just stop at the park and eat lunch. And I've also met a couple of professionals here in town that just go up and just want some fresh air. And kind of get out of the office, and they're doing their work there. So it is being used by multiple facets of our community, which is good. The current inquiries, we have the NECC Youth in Democracy event that they want to do in the fall. So I'm meeting with 2 young kids from Weebatuck High School next week. To see what I can do to help provide the park and facilities that they need. I've had inquiries about youth basketball league, adult women and men, and they've been specific over the age of 30, please. There's a couple I've said over the age of 40, but I was like, youth soccer league, in collaboration with the Amenius Parks and Recreation, because they have a league, so possibly using, having them come and use our field. And a Latino festival in May, that's been really, several people have inquired about that. And then also collaborating with committees and community as far as getting the senior center, some of the seniors out, providing transportation, getting them to see some of these games that are going on and being part of the community. So lots of stuff happening.
That's great.
So, thank you.
There are a few of us who can
Thanks
sign
so
up for
much.
that.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes, Rob.
Could you
Yeah.
just explain Zoom Flume, please?
Jen, I thought you didn't participate.
It's a water
It's a
park.
water park in Eastern.
A water park. I knew it was a water
Oh,
park.
okay, I'm a
but
little
I don't
old
know
fashioned, but.
what
All right,
part is.
thank you.
Yes, Fozzie is also an amusement and water park, but
I don't know what Spins Bowl is.
it's bowling.
Oh, it's just bowling? Okay.
I know that one of the exciting things that's happening is the potential for the swimming
Yes.
pool.
Yeah.
So, and I also had heard that quite a few of the campers probably were not capable, didn't have swim
They're over
capability.
60%, almost, I think in the 70% of our kids did not pass the swim test.
Wow.
Yes.
So.
And I've had a lot of parents come to me and a lot of people who saw that number and said it is so important for our children to know how to swim.
Right.
Especially in this area, we have quite a bit of water. Kids,
That leads me to my next question,
yes,
did they do a road trip or a field trip up to Rudd Pond?
they did not. We went to Lake Taconic. Rudd Pond was not on the schedule this year. I would like to get it on the schedule for next year. And those children who did participate in those trips to Lake Taconic who did not pass the swim test were not allowed to get into the water past their knees.
Mhm.
And we had 3 lifeguards, usually 2 at a time, but we had a total of 3 lifeguards. I did not put that in my report, but we had a total of 3 lifeguards throughout the 6-week camp as well.
And the other question is, and I don't know the answer to this, I know there's a food truck across the road
There's
sometimes.
2 now.
Okay, is there, I don't know if the village has a policy about food trucks in the park?
We do. I could give you more information at a different time.
Okay.
About that, but yes, that's something I actually, Lisa Cope and I, were reading the procedures and policies for food trucks in the park
Mhm.
and what is the proper, way to, make sure that everything is safe,
Mhm.
not just for the community, but safe for them.
Well, it's exciting to see the park getting increasingly used.
Well, once the pool comes in.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Have people flooding in.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's amazing that we're able to do all that camp for $100 a week.
Well, it's 150 for non-residents.
Right.
And then we have a part-time program, either 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 9 to 12, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then 9 to 1, 3 days a week, or 1 to 5, 3 days a week. So there's several different options that parents have, hence why the payment, like updating our payment system would be beneficial so that we can actually have a little bit more of a documented.
It's incredibly affordable.
Yes, it is. It's one of the most affordable,
Dutchess County, I'm sure.
yes,
So what are the age groups?
5 to 13. Now, we had one 13-year-old and she came like the first couple days and she goes, yeah.
Many little kids.
Crystal, you must be thinking about next year because hopefully the pool's gonna be under construction next year, so you
Yes.
might have to change how you've done things with the camp.
Well, it depends on when construction and when the grounds are actually broken for construction. That's something that Jen and I have discussed. It depends on that date. If it's, so camp usually starts in the first couple days of July and ends in the first week of August. So if there isn't construction going on during that time, then a camp will be full on, ready to go. But again, that's something that we have to discuss and get final dates settled.
Okay.
Yeah, but hopefully it might be in the fall.
All to be determined.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. The next item. And the last item before public comment is on a motion to permit me to sign a contract with the Village of Milton for police services in the town. The deputy supervisor and I had a meeting with the mayor and with the police chief and about police services in the town. And the police chief indicated that he had a concern about liability coverage for militant police officers when they're performing their duties in the town. And we agreed that we would entertain an agreement with the village to provide that. And the village has provided us with a draft agreement for that, which provides that coverage for militant police officers when they are performing their duties in the town. And that is what this resolution says. Warren has looked at it and after we approve it, it'll go back to the village, but I think makes good sense. It is, I think it's important that there be no encumbrances on their ability to respond to issues in the town. So that is what this, I need essentially a motion to approve me to sign the contract. The potential contract has been distributed to the members of the board.
I'd actually like to make a motion to postpone action on this, to either our October meeting or we can add an additional meeting in September. Pending some additional information and questions.
Okay. Councilman Mayville has made a motion, has put a motion on the table to postpone consideration of this till the next month.
I second it.
There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion?
So I don't think we have to wait till next month, I mean, we can possibly do a special meeting in September. I think I don't have a lot of information on the police force since the inception of the police chief, and I know there was a lot of discussion prior to the police chief coming on about the police department, so before we take action, I just want to have the opportunity to get some additional information.
Okay. Motion's on the table. It's been made and seconded. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay.
Okay. With that, we come to public comment. And I'm just gonna read from our town guidelines for public comment. As a courtesy extended by the town board, members of the public may speak during meetings public comment period. The public comment period at the conclusion of the meeting is reserved for general comments and concerns. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officers. Speakers must give their name, municipal residence and organization, if any, and must limit their remarks to 5 minutes. So with that, who would like to address the board?
Yeah, you all know, sorry, my name is Tyler Grant, I live on Cooper Road in town Northeast. Members of the public probably have no idea why I'm here, but everyone on the board and the town supervisor does know why I'm here, because all the homeowners along Cooper Road have been emailing the town, complaining about gunfire, illegal ATVs, trespassing with guns on people's properties, damaging the road, reconstructing the road, changing the hydrodynamics so that everyone on a road, when you drive down the road in the winter, it's just excessive wear and tear on our cars. It actually shot at our neighbors. And I made the board aware of this, and I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard multiple people telling me that the Vitiellos on our road was shooting at people. No one on this town board has bothered to respond. The only response that I've gotten over the last month was from Meg, because I said, this is kind of strange that you guys can't respond to all the homeowners at Cooper Road, because we pay for your email. So Meg does respond this time, and she says, you don't pay for my email. I use Gmail. Well, not really how the internet works. And it's funny, I was talking to this selectman from Cornwall yesterday. I was having a nice chat with him, and I explained to him that the town board here is using personal email to conduct public business, and he almost fell out of his chair. So we had the same problem in Cornwall many years ago. We stopped that a long time ago. The reason we stopped it is because we had to seize the board members' computers and their cell phones to get public records. When this started, Chris seemed like he was listening at first, and he's like, I wanna come over to your house and, talk to you about this issue, and he comes over, he says, you know, the reason I'm here is because I don't really like FOIL requests. It's a real pain. You know, these people will say, I need every email that my name is included in, and like, you know, I'd rather just come talk to you in person. I said, hey, that's fine. In my mind, I was thinking, you know, there is a simple workaround, FOIL requests. Don't seek public office if you don't believe in the laws of the United States. You started off this meeting saying justice for all. I can guarantee you, all homeowners along Cooper Road do not feel that we are being treated equal. This grant for this pool is amazing. It's one of the most amazing things that's happened since I've lived here. But if I can't feel safe living on my road, it means nothing to me. I have a 2-year-old, I have a 6-year-old. I'm thinking about 5 years down the road, about, ooh, can they ride their bike down the road? They can't ride their bike down the road right now if the situation maintains as it is. And to just let all the public citizens in here know what the issue is that 20 years ago, the Vitiellos bought a piece of logging property that is not zoned for a house. They came to the town, they said, I'm gonna build a hunting shed here. And the town said, you don't need a permit for that. Instead, they built a single family house. The town started a lawsuit in 2005. They spent God knows how much money. It was resolved in 2018, and the town has done nothing since that time. Chris has been in charge literally almost the entire time since the enforcement was authorized by the Supreme Court of the state of New York. If I was the last person in office before Chris was here, I'd be like, you know what? I did all the heavy lifting. I'm handing this over to the next guy. And I don't know what happened, but Chris tells me, he's at my house, you know, we gotta prove that these people live there. I'm like, well, what is that? What's the definition of live, Chris? He says, well, I don't know, but I know it's somewhere. I'm like, well, okay, this is just semantics here. How can someone prove something if they don't know what the definition is? And mind you, I've kept the board, everyone in this room should be incredibly concerned about this. I've kept the board up to date on every communication that I've had with Chris. They know everything they're hearing right now. Not one of them has bothered to respond. Not one. There's people shooting at people on our road, and these people are spent more time talking about if there should be a center strike on a road than like if I don't know, there's 20 houses on a road. If they've shown no compassion that people do not feel safe on a road. The Vitiellos have trespassed, you know, with beagles and shotguns and snowmobiles. I mean, they've stolen property from other people's. And Chris's big explanation has been, well, it's complicated. It's not complicated. Anyone can read the court case. This has all been decided. What's complicated is that no one has answered why the town is not enforcing its zoning. And oh my God, I hope that I do not sound too aggressive tonight, but I hope anyone could put themselves in my shoes when you have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old walking down this road, trying to build a family together on a pleasant road in the country. I do not feel safe in this town because of the lack of response from the board and the supervisor. And I don't think anyone else should feel secure that the people seated at this table have their safety and well-being and their justice at the bottom of their hearts. Because certainly the people who live along Cooper Road do feel the exact opposite of that way. Chris, the reason that how I got involved is because there was a bunch of issues with gunfire and stuff like this. I was a little confused about the gun laws, as was Chris. But what happened, my neighbor Ed Covert here And this is my neighbor, Milton. And they're here because we feel like it's kind of like 1850 on our road right now. We got to defend our road ourselves. And, so I guess Ed had sent a letter to, Chris, basically like, why aren't you guys enforcing laws? That was like back in March. So on August 7th, Chris sends a letter to Ed. And he says, hey, Ed, this is confidential. Very strange coming from the person who's supposed to be the highest publicly elected official in our county. Says, I gotta salute, this is pretty crazy, this whole thing, this is whatever happened. So, I got a solution. You should sell part of your land to the guys who built the illegal house. That's a fantastic solution. Does anybody on the board want to sell part of their land to somebody who has been shooting at them? This makes absolutely no sense. And and then we got the supervisor complaining about freedom of information requests. And then we learned that the town's using personal email for public service. Like, what is going on here? And how is it gonna work that no one's bothered to respond? I mean, Chris, when he was there, he said, Tyler, we gotta prove that they live over there. And I told you the conversation about he doesn't know what the legal definition of live is. I don't think there is one, because it's either an illegal dwelling or it's not illegal. It doesn't matter if someone's living there or not, it just needs to be condemned. He says, the problem here is that Ed won't put cameras on his property. And I'm thinking, oh wow, I've heard Ed tell me 100,000 times that he'll put up cameras.
No, correct.
No, let me
Excuse me.
correct. I know exactly what I'm saying.
Mr. Graham,
He said.
you've gone past the 5 minutes. I want to give you the courtesy of letting
I'll
you
finish up,
finish
right?
that.
So, I said, yeah, I think this is incorrect. And, Chris leaves. And I call up Ed immediately. I said, well, Chris says you won't put up cameras on your property. Ed, understandably angry because he's dealt with this more than anyone. He goes to visit Chris. This was 6 o'clock at night. He comes here the next morning. And first thing he does is he says, hey, Chris, Chris walks in, hey, Chris, I heard you were telling Tyler I would put up cameras. Told you all along I'll put up cameras. I'm not putting up my own cameras because they keep stealing them. Then Chris says to Ed, oh, well, we don't need cameras. We already have voter registration. We know they live there. What is going on in this town? This is utterly fascinating. I'm finished. But, let me add one more thing. One final sentence. If you guys can't get back to the people on Cooper Road, I can just print all this stuff out, tomorrow. I can make like 200 binders. So when we do the open house, the highway garage, we can just all talk about this with all the other citizens that maybe, they have, zoning's not being enforced, maybe they should just sell part of their land to make the other person's illegal dwelling legal. And I finish.
Is there other public comment?
If I may, I just think that.
Your name, please?
Milton Dean, 260 Cooper Road.
Bill?
Milton,
Milton,
Milton Dean.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you all know what he's been talking about. You've all been informed about it. I think everybody involved would just like a response with some sort of plan. That's where the anger and difficulty is really coming from. Just the normal courtesy of, is there a plan? Let us know.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Covert.
No one has had to put up with more of this than I have. I have been shot at my own property. I was in the military. I worked for the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department. I know what it's like to be shot at. So it's not my imagination. When I'm standing out in my front yard and I hear bang, zing, and limbs are falling out of my trees over my head. It's out of control. I know it used to be referred to as the covert video feud. It's never been that. It's always been the video law breaking. Alls I've asked for, true or not, Chris, is for people to do their jobs. We have a code enforcement officer. We have a deputy code enforcement officer. They get paid to do that. And it ain't getting done. Bottom line. Do we need to expand the building department? That's up to you guys. 2 hours a week for the building inspector, senior code enforcement officer? I think it's kind of weak, especially a new building coming up into the area. I think that should also be addressed. Because this is 22 years in the making, and it still ain't fixed. What's things that are happening today gonna be like in 22 years? Thank you for your time.
Well, the Supreme Court had a finding 6 years ago, is that right? 2018?
I'm just receiving your comments right now.
Yeah, that's when it was decided that no one is supposed to inhabit that house on that property. So I would like to know, and the others, what is the solution to stop them living there? Everything that's happened in 20 years, and I've been here that long, has been really the antithesis of neighborly or thoughtful, or it's a threat and it's really disturbing. My wife takes a walk. 500 rounds go off in 5-10 minutes. It's like military. No, it's beyond. None of you would want it, and it's not going to change. It is the nature of the neighbor. Thanks for your time.
I have to add, I apologize for taking more time. The one other thing that is unbelievable to me is that if these people hit one of my kids or somebody else's kid with a snowmobile or an ATV that's not supposed to be on that road, or they accidentally shoot somebody or shoot something on somebody on purpose, this town could be bankrupt for like 10 years because of the wrongful death lawsuit, because all of the activity is documented. I am so confused why the board and the supervisor isn't taking enforcement action, because that's what actually looks out for our finances and reduces our liabilities. Right now, the liabilities on Cooper Road are astronomical.
We will prepare a response to you, to the issues that you have raised.
That'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
My name is Shelley Beeson. I'm a resident of State Line Road, as are a few of us here. And thankfully, we're not being shot at. And we're grateful to you all for your efforts on making our road safer. I'm just wondering if you're open to ideas from the residents of State Line Road and Belkey. We chat amongst ourselves informally, but would be grateful for the opportunity to get together and prepare some suggestions that maybe you all could take under consideration. I mean, nothing absurd. It's just, we like what's been done so far and we like your ideas for moving forward. But we also talk about the possibility of a 4-way stop at the intersection of Belkey and State Line Road, which I think might cut down on accidents. There have been 2 since the measures that you took with new signage that I know of anyway. I live in the first house from the corner. I hear these accidents. So yeah, the 4-way stop might be something to think about. And also a no through trucks sign might be something to think about. They have one on the Connecticut end. some think that it might be because of a very small bridge that the road includes that goes over a small creek. And it might not be able to support the weight of a large truck, I don't know. But if it's good enough for Connecticut, it might be good enough for us on the other end. Would you like to receive our ideas?
We would be very open to receive your ideas. We would welcome your ideas.
Good, so maybe we'll do that, right? Okay. Thank you.
I think the same thing about the through trucks. I think that's a big issue. When we had the accident around Christmas last year where it just came down the hill and didn't stop, swerved into your house and then cut across into a tree. So it is the trucks coming down and then skipping town and just coming through the state line of Belkey.
Mhm.
But of course, at the other end, it says no through trucks. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. But it would really help if there was a sign at the end of Belkey and 22 saying no through trucks. I mean, Taylor's fine, we know things there, but there's a lot of major trucks that come through and late at night too. So the speed limit's fine, but it's the trucks as well coming through.
Be happy to receive that, happy to meet with you about that. Anyone else?
Jim Cole, State Line Road, I'm here with the State Line Group. It's disappointed that the board didn't approve the contract with the Norton Police. Although I do understand the need for more information. I hope that once this special meeting is held, that you will approve that contract. Whatever the speed limit is, and I am in favor of lowering the speed limit, and you for sending that resolution off to the county and the state. Whatever the speed limit is, without enforcement, it won't make a difference. And I think contracting with Milton Police for the town might help with enforcement, consistent enforcement. I thank you for the sign idea. I think it could help. I would like to also put on the agenda possibilities, speed bumps and a digital sign. Maybe some research could be done, and I'm willing to help. On the efficacy of a speed bump in a 40 or 30 mile per hour zone.
Speed bumps are difficult with, in the winter time when
Right,
snow plows.
so we could research it and look at it and see what the possibilities are. And also whether or not there are grants for a digital speed limit sign that would alert drivers if they're going over the speed.
Thank you. Yes, yes, sir.
Give the info on State Line Road also. I just think maybe with the resolution you're sending to the state and the county. You might want to think to add Gay Road, because you fix Belkey and State Line, they're just gonna go down Gay to avoid it. And, you know, we'll be shifting the problem, it will be fair to the people over there. Just look at that.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Moving on. We have the financials. We have a budget adjustment number 7 of 2024. A fund and expense increase of $1,560, less an expense decrease of $1,560. B fund. An expense increase of $2,000, less an expense decrease of $2,000. And DV fund. An expense increase of $215,000, less a revenue increase of $215,000. Could I have a motion to approve the budget adjustment?
Second,
Meg and Ralph. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Have a special abstract dated August 26, 2024, totaling $13,137.40, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,453.30. DV fund, $9,684.10. But I have a motion to accept the special abstract.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There. Ralph?
Thank you.
I have an abstract dated September 12th, 2024. Totaling $167,217.89, broken down as follows. A fund, $44,956.55. B fund, $3,778.28. Excuse me, $3,778.25.
We needed.
DB funds. $101,477.37. ARPA, $16,432.25. T&A two escrow, $315. Payroll T&A, $258.47. Could I have a motion to accept the abstract?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Voucher committee.
Yeah, the voucher committee for October is Lana Morrison, Chris Mayville. And
I didn't put the date.
minutes of the meeting of August 8th have been distributed to the board. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Just we just have to put our date.
Okay, with that, we are coming to the end of the regular meeting, and we're going to have an executive session with council. So I will be happy to excuse everyone else. And I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
So moved.
And as soon as everybody leaves.
Hi, thank you. So, all in favor?
Did somebody make a
Chris
motion?
Mayville and then Ralph Fidelli.
Yeah. I'm just, as soon as everyone is out, I'm just gonna get some water.
Did everyone put the date on that other one? Sure. Doesn't
She took it.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, okay, whatever I need to figure out
I need
what the plan is for that.
more liquids too. Do you need any more water or anything?
No.
Anyone else in our group?
Maybe just drink.
How about a little shot?
Yeah, a little gin and tonic.
Nice to sweet by you.
Yeah.
I like your shirt. You're not skinny enough. You got anything?
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
Always.
No, I got it. Lose it.
So we got the,
Got yours. So why don't you stop?
I will do that very happily.
Is the owl?
Not yet.